Hello, world history students. Welcome to the very, very, very end of the class. And I wanted just to, kind of drop into your feed, so to speak, and slow things down just a little bit. We are wrapping up with World War II and the Holocaust. And the Holocaust is, the name that is given to the murder and genocide of just many, 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 many people, mostly Jewish, not all, but the extermination of the Jewish race from Germany and much of Europe, or the attempted extermination of the Jewish race from that part of the world. And it's a very complicated and challenging topic to study at any time. Part of me wishes we weren't wrapping up with this in our course because there's so many positive developments in the modern world, but when we look at the scope of the course, starting way back with the Haitian and the French revolutions, and bringing it all the way into modernity, if you look back at the modern world, World War II and the Holocaust really figure very, very large in how the modern world is shaped today based off of reactions to the horrors of what took place. And I also just want to kind of lower expectations for how the course is gonna wrap up. There is going to be some new learning this week and a short writing assignment. It's going to be really straightforward, where here's the material, here's the writing prompt. You're not having to look all over for different things, and that's on purpose. We don't want this to be stressful. We want this to be an opportunity for you to explore what is a really challenging topic. And then all of next week, you are just doing some reflection activities and then reassessing on any standard, so that you should know, really clearly what your score is on the grade, what your grade in the class is overall, heading into that last week and being able to make changes if needed. Okay, so let me get myself out of the way a little bit here and talk a little bit about what we're doing. So the learning target for today, or for this week, is that you're going to be able to answer a compelling question about the Holocaust during World War II. And then today we're going to be researching the ideologies and individual actions that brought this tragedy into existence. Okay, you're going to be taking notes as you explore interactive websites. So here are the two questions, compelling questions. When you're doing your writing later this week, you're going to choose one. So one question is, what conditions, ideologies, and ideas made the Holocaust possible? So it's kind of a big picture look at what were the ideas and ideologies, or the conditions, the kind of time and place type conditions that made the Holocaust possible. Or if you choose this other compelling question, how did people in different roles in society contribute in large and small ways to making the Holocaust possible? And again, there's going to be a website that's connected to each of those, so you're not going to have to do a lot of research on your own. It'll just be check out this website. There's lots of really cool, really important information, and then here's your writing, right next to it. Okay, but before we jump straight in to researching, I did just want to kind of point out to take your time. Learning about the Holocaust can be traumatic, and so take time to talk to your family, take time to kind of interact with the material, walk away. Today's lesson is really simple. It's just an introduction and an opportunity to connect. So after reading, watching, researching, using these videos and websites below, there's a text box at the bottom of this page, and there's just the opportunity to privately ask a question or make a comment, and that either Miss Berman or myself Miss Bedell or myself will reply to. What we wanted is just for an opportunity for you not to have to post to a discussion that everybody can see, but for you to be able to ask a question that is just on your mind, or make a comment that's just on your mind after you are learning about this global tragedy. Okay. I also wanted to, before I wrap up this video, just share with you my own experience, which is limited to how I kind of learned about and grew up with finding out about the Holocaust. And the story starts where in Stuttgart, Germany, where I lived as a kid in first and third grade. My dad was a doctor in the army, or he was being trained by the army to be a doctor, and so we were stationed in Germany. And there's actually a lot of people that grew up stationed in Germany. The U.S. Army had a large presence in Germany all the way up until like the 90s and 2000s. There were still U.S. Army bases there, but there was also just a lot of troops stationed there, and that was directly because of World War II. Ever since World War II, the U.S. has had large amounts of troops in Germany, garrisoning, that part of Europe. And so my dad was one of them. And so we lived in Stuttgart. It was a beautiful place, wonderful people. There was the Porsche factory was there. That's where they make the Porsche cars. Mercedes Benz is made there. It's also surrounded by the Black Forest, and just beautiful, beautiful place. And Germany as a country is just in a really interesting place where they are so actively and proactively dealing with the history of murdering so many Jewish people, that there are very specific laws against hate speech, against Holocaust denial. And so you could just tell that while you were there, even though I was a young person, that this was a society and a country that was making a clean break with the past and really trying to be out front about making amends, or describing what had happened as wrong. And so even up to today, this is a news story that just came out last month, that there's a German court, and they're still going through the process of convicting people that contributed to the Holocaust. And so here's a secretary, and so her job was to type up the lists of the people that were arriving at the death camp. And because this court, even though she's now 97 years old, has was able to prove that she was complicit. She was partially responsible for what happened, and so they're even now kind of legally moving through the process. The last thing I'll just kind of mention is just how I came across this as a kid. We went and visited the site of a concentration camp, and I just remember it being very quiet and very sad. I was probably like in second grade or something, and the image that stood out to me was we got to an empty room, me and my mom, and it was very quiet. But in the side of the room, there was a picture that had been taken in that room. You were pretty sure it looked the same. But in that room, there had been just this giant pile of old discarded shoes. And for a child's mind, I think that was just really interesting to see how visual it was. I've been walking around this museum, this memorial all day, but it wasn't until as a second grader that you see that many shoes that children or adults took off and never put back on again, that it really brought home, the scale of the death that took place. And so, you can see myself, even just getting emotional remembering, this. And so as you process this, give yourself grace to be emotional, and to ask for help, or to take space away, or to talk to family. This is really important history, but it is also really challenging. So take care of yourself, and we look forward to working with you on it. All right. Bye, everybody.